Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Teen Nerd Podcast, everybody. Where our best advice here is if you want to do it right, collect what you like. But you know how it goes for every Monday, Fanime Talk, Chibi Tales, behind the cosplay. You guys, it's if you want to view it right, anime for life. And again, we got episode 2, you guys. So we are getting the second time, the second hitter for my man SumTingWong's Chibi Tale. He was taking us on a historic journey of his anime walk. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this continues on. But before we get into that, let me holler at these two. Steve, Wong, how are you guys doing, man?
Steve, welcome. We have a second opportunity to get this right.
Oh yeah, man. It's gonna get it only gets better, right? Because in the beginnings it started this way, and then now you start to get the evolution of anime. So we're gonna get to the nitty gritty.
Yes, for sure.
We needed that foundation first, you guys. So this is definitely something that we all have been looking forward to. But before we get into that, let's to holler at the herd. Let's get it all.
Let's get it, man. Let's get this Monday and just beat the shit out of it,
Let's do it.
Yeah. What's going on? Oh, we always got to give it to the Four Horsemen faction, brother. We got to go get to brother number one, brother Rudy. He's out there, man. He's lurking the crowd. He's just, shaking hands and slapping asses. You know what I
mean? He's mingling.
Straight mingling. And then you got SumTingWong right down here, man. So you already know something white's going to happen. The best kind of things happen when he's around. Executive producer Havoc, dare I say it, the better looking image of Alonzo. Just kidding.
Still one-eyed.
Havoc's the younger guy, the younger brother. You gotta say. The anime brother number 3, the anime etc. The anime etc. Senpai, my fellow
Sonnen, baby.
That's right. The legendary 3. And then you got Glenn Nobi, Glenn 2K,
Glenn Snurp.
4K12 coming right at you,
That's right, Glenn.
The one with the force and the flash.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And then those luscious beats, man. Let's go ahead and give shout outs and love to DJ Abomination and Play Closely Up North.
Gotta love them beats. Gotta love them beats.
Yeah, man. They tickle the fancy.
That's
and
right.
Let's go ahead and cruise up here, man. We got right here. Senpai.
There he is.
The
legendary Sonnen. Thinking it. He's a liftoff right there.
Yeah.
You got my man Frost, man. A bleeding star, dude.
Frosty.
What's going on? Bleeding star, baby.
From galaxies and beyond. Greetings, my friend. Greetings. Much love. Good to see you. Then you have Cyclops over here, man. The executive producer for the Team Nerd Herd. The leader.
One-eyed.
Right.
That's right. One-eyed monster, as they say.
The man.
But he is not a monster. He is a scholar and a gentleman at that. Then you got Raging Cajun, man. Raging Cajun Comics, brother JD. If you guys missed the rewind, he had brother Morbius, a historian, a pillar to this community. My man Morbius had so many freaking, not only does this boy have comics, man, this guy got pop-up books, treasuries, magazines. He got his old Transformers. He's just getting his childhood, right? But the creme de la creme were some prints at the very end. So check that. Go ahead and get you some,
That's right.
Naked and unslabbed.
That's right. That's right. He'll crack some slabs too if you dare him on a good day.
T Ravis is in the building, my brother Travis.
What's going on,
What's going on, brother?
Good to see you, brother.
What's going on? Good to see you, Troy, brother. It's been a long time, and if you guys aren't following T Ravis Comics on Instagram, I highly recommend you do. My boy got mad sales, man. Some boxes, if you would. He is a hunter. Hashtag Hunters Hunt. That's it.
There
man.
We go. Hunters got to hunt.
So we got to give love to my boy. All right, let's go ahead. I think we got some new comments over here.
Yes, I did.
Oh man, you got Marshall Lewis, man. What's going on, Marshall?
What's up, Marshall?
Appreciate you.
Hey, Marshall.
Yes, welcome, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Glenn 2K12 right there, man. Bam.
Man,
and then you got HK Wifey 420. Woo! Sheena, what's
up,
going
Sheena?
on? Stack.
Sheena.
Hello. She just must be in love. Well, right there. She's already.
There you go.
She's got it.
Glenn has some.
Yeah.
There's farting going around in that herd chat too. Not only do we give you quality anime talk, comics, movies and shows, we also, talk about fun things like, dare I say it, are we going to go ahead and get into it? We got,
No, I just saw someone station. What's going on?
Station to TM
Nerdy
Nerdy
up in the house.
If you guys missed the rewind on Thursday for the Mondo Mail Call, my man TM Nerdy had some great things, man. What about those Transformers? Old school Transformers.
Those Beast Wars, baby.
Never open, man. They just
keep it civil in the chat. I know he's beefing right now with a couple of the gals.
Oh my gosh, he's just too funny, man. They were cracking me up on Thursday, yo.
Sheena got a wrench though,
oh yeah.
There's gonna be wars going on.
Michelle too.
Michelle too, man. It's a war going on. It's happening. No man or woman is safe from it. So.
Exactly, and he's standing strong too. 2 against 1, man.
And not backing down.
Yes, he is not. So, we thank you. We thank everybody. Being in the chat. If you come in, we'll holler at you. We will not miss you. I'm glad you can join us. So, Wong, let's get into it. You were taking us through, through the foundation, the pathway, within the 80s. But we didn't finish the 80s quite just yet. So I know that you got something good for us, man, and we just want to hear it. Hit us with it, brother.
All right, so let's set the mood a little bit.
You want me to turn off the lights?
Light the candles.
The mood is set, baby. Look at me in the background. I came ready.
See if you remember this.
Broadcast or retransmission without express written consent and the consent of and Cartoon Network is to
Friday and Saturday nights, baby. Mornings.
Yay!
Get out of there.
There we go. They're hitting a warp speed right there.
Yep, that's right. Chef R.D. Harris, you came at the right damn time, my brother.
What's up, Chef?
Hey, Chef.
About to have me popping there.
Oh man, that is definitely taking me back with that Toonami, man.
So that's the original Toonami intro.
Okay.
You were staying up late nights. To watch that.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, man. And that robot, man. They definitely upgraded that guy over the years. You know what I mean? So it was really good to see how Cartoon Network really showed that portion of cartoons. Definitely gave it its spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. It set the tone for the 90s.
Yes.
Okay, so we left off kind of in late 1980s, 88 to be more specific. So kind of left off with Akira hitting the shores, and we talked about Grave of the Fireflies.
Yes.
And so one of the things we didn't mention too much. Are you getting echo?
No.
From you, maybe, but not from.
I didn't actually hear an echo.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things in the 80s that we didn't touch upon too much was the sub versus dub wars.
Ooh, some may say it's still going on today.
Yeah, man. So, we don't want none of them dubs unless you get the actor right. Let me just tell you.
So this was a big thing back in the 80s, right? So this was like West Side Story. You were on one side or the other, right? You were a sub guy or you were a dub guy, and there was no in between.
Yes,
and
that's very true.
And you pretty much lived and died doing one or the other, right? And so what happened back in the 80s was before the advent of Laserdiscs, when you can kind of pick and choose whether you wanted the sub or the dub. You can only really purchase it one way or the other, right? So you had to kind of decide if you're going into a store or you were going into a rental copy, whether you were going to, rent or buy the sub version or the dub version. And, what was happening in the 80s was that the dub versions were the copies that sold best. Right. So often when you went to the store, if you were a subtitle person, you had to pay up a little bit more for the subtitle version.
East meets West brethren right there. Gomez.
Hey, Gomez.
What's up, Gomez? Yeah, you're right about that, Wong. You're right about that.
So and what these companies found was that the more hardcore true fans would pay up for the subtitle. Right. So if I remember right, it would cost maybe like $5 more for the exact same tape.
Yes, and if I could add to that, Wong, also is that even if the translation wasn't always accurate either, and it's still for what you were getting back then, still kind of hit the mark. You know what I mean? Because you can kind of fill in some of the blanks yourself and whatnot. But that was something that I specifically remember. Where the it wasn't translated like 100%, but it was still good.
Yes, yeah, no, that's a good point, Eric. So there were two schools of subtitles, right? There was the literal translation, right, where they would try and take the Japanese language,
Brother
Rudy, and word for word try and literally translate that into English. And it didn't always work because of the subtleties of the languages, right? Sometimes there are terms or emotions that don't translate 100%. And then you had the interpretive translation, which was somebody trying to interpret the meaning of the Japanese language in English terms. So sometimes it would be very confusing, like you said, where that's not exactly what they said or meant. But if that was a literal or a interpretive translation, then that's what you got. So that was one of the things that we had to kind of work through in the 80s, right? You had to find one or two of those camps.
So before we move on, let me just add a little something, and then let's get her chat involved, right?
Yes.
So let's go down the line. What were you? Were you a sub guy or a dub guy? And then in this her chat, man, I want it rocking and rolling. I want to know what you rocked. I don't want to hear both.
Let's hear it, guys.
Pick one or the other.
Yeah, so you gotta be on the side, or else you're gonna get stabbed. One of the other.
So I was subtitled.
Angel's not even here.
And I'm gonna go subtitled as well, man. I mean, there was no other way to watch it subtitled. Like for me. What about you, Eric?
Same.
How about you?
All right, so we're all subbed up here.
We're all subbed. I mean, I remember watching Dragon Ball Z in Spanish with no translation. I don't even speak Spanish, and I was still watching that. You know what I mean? Like I was filling in the blanks myself. So it was sub for me all the way, definitely.
Yeah, dude. Like you had to hit like the. Yeah, you got dubs all raging. Yo, we're gonna have to talk.
Hey, but we can't hate. We can't hate.
Yeah. No judging.
At least
they're
watching. At least they're watching. That's the most important thing.
Jay Nunya, nah, man. You know what? I don't even hate on the dubs. You know what? There is a market for everybody. Everybody has what they like. I think what gets me is if they don't get the dub part right, it throws it off. Like and I think you feel it because there's only so much I can tolerate. Like Dragon Ball Z for sure I can tolerate 100%. I think they've paid their dues. Naruto, hell no. You can only watch Naruto in subs. Like My Hero Academia, you can only hear it in subs. Like Fire Force, dubbed. Like perfect to me in dubbed.
Doable. Yeah.
But no hating on either way, man. We just needed to know. We wanted to see what the her chat had in store for us. So, Wong, I pass it back to you, brother.
Yes, continue.
All right, so okay, so let's get into the 90s. Right, so at this point, I just graduated high school. Right, I'm going to college, and so now my focus is really school.
Okay,
and I start to kind of lose a little bit of touch, with the hobby. Right, even with comics, things like that. Right, life gets in the way.
Yes.
So as we were talking about last time, VHS was a game changer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes,
So
100%.
Oh yeah.
you had all these companies coming in, and they imported all this material from Japan,
Como
Yeah.
tá, papá? Como tá?
right? And you would find that each of these companies kind of approached the genre in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's true.
So just remember seeing all these ads, right, for all these different types of anime.
Dang.
Right, and some of the companies that I remember kind of growing up, and it's kind of still etched in my mind, and I'm sure you'll probably remember a lot of these as well as everyone in the chat.
Yep.
But the Seiban Entertainment,
That's right. Yep.
Dragon Ball and Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Right Stuff?
Comics, Gang Faces.
Right
Nice.
Stuff International. You had Streamline that brought Akira. You had Central Park Media, that was big.
Yeah.
Right. Central Park Media, US Manga Corps brought in the Slayers, Studio Ghibli.
Yep.
Early on. AD Vision. Remember AD Vision?
Oh yeah, dude. You're just talking to my heart right now.
Right. So, Sailor Moon.
That's right.
Neon Genesis. That's gonna be DX is gonna
Yeah, he had hollered
gonna be
that
excited
out.
about that one.
He just nerdgasmed right now on the other side. If we had a camera viewing in on him, he'd be like just shaking all over the place.
And you're naming out some distributors that, like, for me honestly, like, I'm like knew quite a bit of them, but there were still some that you had mentioned that I was just like, like this is all like new history, for me. So I'm enjoying this, man. And then of course there we go. We got that manga.
Yes, right. So Manga Entertainment, Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, Ghost in the Shell.
Oh hell yeah! All the legendaries.
I know. Respect to all them three, yo.
Right, and then Viz Video. So Ranma.
Big dog right now. Yeah.
Yeah, Funimation, of course. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
Big company, Urban Vision.
Yeah.
Was a little bit of a smaller company, but Vampire Hunter D.
Yes.
And then Disney in the 90s got into the game as well, right? When they became a majority shareholder in Studio Ghibli. So that was big. What was the first studio film that Disney released? Do you guys remember?
Oh man, dude, this should be on Geek Factor Live. You're testing me right now.
We'll have to save that question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know.
There's gonna be a viewer out there, man. That's totally.
I know somebody in the chat's gonna just get it.
In the manga, they're gonna be in the show. They're gonna be like, I don't know. And then there's somebody in the crowd's gonna be like, come on, man.
All right, we'll give anyone in the chat a leg up. It's Kiki's delivery service.
Oh, there we go.
Princess.
Yeah, Jay, you almost had it, man.
So those are kind of the big distributors and the big companies that were really bringing the stuff to the shores here. Mm-hmm. And then early on in the 90s, there was anime on television, right? It started really becoming a thing. After you started seeing kind of a groundswell from the VHS explosion. So in the early 90s, you had you remember Robot Carnival? Vampire Hunter D. That was really early on.
Yeah.
Vampire Hunter D, yes.
Damn.
In the mid 90s, Sailor Moon.
What's up, baby?
AJ. All right, followed by Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then you saw the intro Toonami, and we'll talk about Toonami a little bit in a moment, because I'm sure that was part of everybody's intro or continued love for anime.
Most definitely.
Okay, and then we probably won't even have time to touch on Pokemon, right? That's like its own episode.
You got to catch them all, dude. You got to.
Yeah, it's the culture right there, man.
That's for the win. Oh yeah, Berserk.
Yeah.
So if you remembered, you asked the question about what kind of anime I liked in the 80s. And anime in the 80s was, a lot of mech, right? A lot of tech, a lot of sci-fi. And but in the 90s, things started really changing and opening up. It was just like a different time. And you started seeing a lot of comedies and a lot of bloody action.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you started seeing a lot of, those types of genres coming in, right? Your ninjas.
Yep.
Right. And the target audience in the 90s, at least commercially, was college students. Right. College students was the big draw. So they like blood, right? Action, blood, and you saw a lot of that, right? So,
boobs,
tentacles.
Yeah.
Right. So that started becoming really big. And so, with that, transitioning from kind of VHS and niche to more, accessible and modern was the advent of Toonami. Right. Do you guys remember kind of your first experiences with Toonami?
Yeah, Steve, I'd like to hear your words first before mine, because I think ours might be a little different.
So, from what I remember, I used to be on when they had Dragon Ball first, because it would always start everything off. Then you had to go through the gamut through the whole night. I would probably just keep it on and just watch a ton of stuff and then fall asleep to it. But what got me first was Dragon Ball Z. They were doing the Android. No. They were doing what is it, Eric? Namek, the Namek series.
Namek
so I wanted to, so I wanted to rewatch it all over again, catch up, and that those were my beginnings. And then after that, I just kept staying on for Afro Samurai and all the other animes that they brought into the fold.
Sure.
So what about you, Eric?
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, so for me, Yu Yu Hakusho was definitely one of them that was in there. Inuyasha, though, like both of those I was a fan of. I never ended up completing the entire series that they had, because I know sometimes I felt like they didn't show everything almost in chronological order for some of the animes and stuff, but I do remember those two specifically. And then of course Dragon Ball Z and Bleach was another one that had, when I couldn't get it subbed, and I would watch it dubbed in there too. So but yeah, those were some typical battle style animes for back then, at least for me. And then how you had brought up the Tenchi, that one was another one, which he was just the ladies' man. He wasn't even feeding into it either. So
Benkai.
That's right, Benkai. Yeah. So what about you, Wong? So what was your experience?
So I actually remember Toonami pretty much from the beginning, because at that point I was done with school. I was out, working. So at this point, I started circling back a little bit more into the stuff. Yeah. So this was late 90s, 97, 98 was really when I kind of remember. And if you remember the first incarnation of Toonami, and it's kind of evolved over time, right?
Big time, yes.
The big show at the time was Voltron, right? And the Thundercats, right? Those were kind of the, and at the time, I think it was mostly during the day. So we hadn't gotten to the point where it was
watching
late
it at night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was just, regular cartoon blocks of time during the day. And the host was Space Ghost.
Oh, right? Yes, Space Ghost.
So Space Ghost was kind of the first host.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. So that was early on. And a couple of years later, it kind of evolved a little bit. And the big show at the time was Sailor Moon, right? And I won't do Sailor Moon justice. Hey, Jeff.
Geek driven.
So, but you should get DX back on at some point to talk about this period in
Sailor Moon
time,
action, yes,
right? Because everybody watched Sailor Moon, right? So that was big.
Yeah.
And Sailor Moon was quickly followed by Dragon Ball Z, Robotech, Mobile Suit Gundam, Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
So it really started to turn very much towards straight anime a couple of years into it. And then once you kind of get into the early 2000s, then you got Naruto and Teen Titans and all those other things. But
yeah, true.
Yeah. So but that's the 2000s.
Oh, we got to give shout outs to Mama Comic
Hey,
Lucy,
Lucy, how are you?
comic book women. Good evening, Lucy.
Right.
Your girl watches anime too, man. I know Lucy watches anime.
She's down. She's down. I know that she's down.
They're like a match made in heaven. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shout out to your girl. Shout out to your girl.
Yes.
We need to get her. We need to get her on the show.
That's right.
Man, yeah, that's a Chibi Tale I need to hear because Lucy got some animes that she's been watching, like Naruto.
Yes.
Naruto.
Yes, indeed.
Eric, give me one of the your Naruto voices. I mean, sorry, Wong.
You have an act?
Oh man, I don't know about Naruto voices. My typical thing would be like Nani. I don't know anything else other than that.
Well, then you got to give the.
I mean, I could give you that Brooks laugh. That One Piece. The yo. That's my man right there, you guys. But yeah, that's right. I digress. So please, Wong, continue, my brother.
All right, so that's kind of general overview, but there's a couple in particular that we can go over, and then I'd like to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Let's do it, baby.
Sure.
So for me, the series that I associate with the 90s the most is Neon Genesis.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is ingrained.
Yeah, this has a big
in my DNA. Yeah, it's just it's not a perfect series by any stretch, but it's really the one that I remember the most coming out of the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember watching this as it was getting released, or did you watch it later, or not at all?
So for I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was going to say for me specifically, like it sticks out, but it's not something that I had remembered really watching or anything, just because like the mech portion of it, like for me still is not necessarily something that I have a tendency to gravitate to, but it's significantly well known. I know of this, and so that's for me on my part. Steve, what about you, man?
Yeah, Wong, I gotta say, if I watched it like in sleep, because I know it was on Toonami, right? So I watched brief moments of it. But to Eric's point, I wasn't much of a mech guy myself. Eric and I probably shared the same type of like love for battle animes. I know Jason, my cousin Jason, and my cousin Ugo in Vegas, they're more open like to everything. They get a shot of everything, so they get to. Especially my cousin, like in Vegas, he strictly watches everything. So for them, this was probably definitely up their alley, Gundam and all that. But to make a long story short, the answer is no. It was more battle style for me, to be honest.
All right, I respect that. Yeah, that's for me the series. So the series was released here in the mid 90s, and if you were kind of following music, really any pop culture, movies, TV, things like that, that was a time when everything was really very angsty, right?
True.
Everything was just life is hard, and the music was very emotional, very dour, right?
Gotten emo,
right? Yeah, it's just that time period, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So think of some of your favorite bands, right? The music they played, that was just the time.
Yeah.
And for this story, really, it's more of like a psychological examination.
Okay.
And so kind of the basis of the story is it's the tone and the setting is 15 to 20 years after a worldwide cataclysm, right?
Okay.
Everything's kind of like destroyed and very futuristic. And at this point, the inhabitants are living on Tokyo 3.
Damn,
right? So
not one, not two, but three.
But three, right? And the protagonist, the kid in the middle, Shinji, he's one of a handful of kids that are able to integrate and with what they call angels, not angels, Evangelions, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like a bio mechanical type of
like synchronization.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of plug into each other, and and so these machines were built and created to fight these angels, right? These aliens who are trying to essentially just eradicate and take over.
Yeah.
And so they pilot these mechs, and as you can imagine, it kind of takes a toll on their bodies, psychologically and physically.
100%. Right? if you were going to, yeah, because she's a beheader, man. Wherever she's at, she's probably doing a job right now. There's a katana that you're hearing unsheathed, like, and blood's dripping on the wall, splattering. But sorry. I mean, I had to say it.
All good. So, as the story kind of progresses, the director of the anime towards the end fell into a big depression, and so the project started kind of losing its way a little bit, and they had a very difficult time really creating an ending for the series, which kind of like Game of Thrones style. Is in some ways kind of put a little bit of a shadow on the series as a whole. And so in subsequent years they actually kind of remade the ending a few times to try and appease the fans, especially those hardcore fans that wanted to try and follow it. So it's interesting how this series has evolved and has big cult following.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for it, for sure. I know a lot of diehards. I know DAnime has brought this up to me a million times. Like if not over, he's like, you got to go back and watch a lot of those classics. And for me, like in anything that you like, any hobby, you're always going to reach back to the classics. So I definitely will look at this, because you're always going to find a new love, and you never know that you'll become a new fan with it. Like any of these recommendations that we're getting from the herd as well. So I like respect it gratefully. So got to respect that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was just going to ask you, Wong, I do have a question for you. Now, how you mentioned that that they tried to redo the ending a few times to just like appease the hardcore cult following fans. Did any of those, out of the endings that they had tried to do, did any of those hit the mark for you, at least a tiny portion, or not at all?
I think they were well done, and the same controversy kind of exists. There are some people that really hate that they reworked it, and they don't like it at all, and there are those that do.
Okay. I'm
kind of more of a purist, and if that's how the series kind of originally ended, and that's just the direction it went for whatever reason, that's how I take it.
Okay.
So for me, I'm not a Lucas reworking, a New Hope, type of guy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that really bothers me. So,
don't mess it up. Just let
whatever floats your boat. But warts and all, I just prefer just the original.
Gotcha.
But I can appreciate what they were trying to do.
Yeah. As fans, I mean, you can't knock them for giving them the the good old try, right? So
yeah, because at the time his state of mind wasn't where he probably wanted to be, and maybe he felt like he had some unfinished work to do. So it's good. It's his creation, and his baby, right? So you
That's
can
right.
do with it as you please.
That's right.
So anyway, this for me,
Yeah.
this is my mech, and this is my 90s anime.
There we go.
And then there are a couple other ones that I really respect and I like, but this one in particular, not done as well as I think a lot of people had hoped it would be.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's Berserk.
Berserk.
Oh man, Berserk, dude.
Guts,
Come on.
my man, Guts right there with that long blade, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so
What's up, Lord Chucks?
Lord Chucks over at
Hey,
the
Chuck.
LCC. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot more people that know a lot more about Berserk than I do, but I did not watch Berserk, the anime anyway, when it came out, just because I love the manga so much that I didn't think that they can do it service. But I did watch it years later.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It really just covers one arc. And if you do read the manga, it's not complete.
Yeah.
And at this point, it probably will never be complete, just because Miura passed away recently. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what direction the estate, will take the series. But Jay was talking about the CGI version that came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this version's better, just because I like the more drawn, traditional hand-drawn anime.
Yeah,
you're a diehard.
Yeah. Listen, CGI, it could be done well, and if used properly, can really enhance, any story game. But I just love hand-drawn cells.
Yep, I would agree.
There's something about it.
Yeah.
So so Berserk. What's your experience with Berserk? Do you guys follow it at all?
I was able to watch those movies. I watched the movies. I did watch a little bit of the anime series, but to be able to get the mangas, man, like they were just out of my hands. Now you can buy them, like cheap graphic novels and everything like that. You can go get them and kind of stack up and read it. But when you ever read the manga, you would look at it like nothing's ever going to do justice to what you've read versus what's on the screen. I mean, now you're getting it virtually what you read is what you're watching, and it's great, in some animes. But that was my experience. Was some of the movies. I love the movies, and then a bit of portion of the anime. I did not get a chance to read the mangas, but I got it. Eric, what about you, brother?
Yeah, so I have a tendency more towards like gravitating towards the manga. I feel like because, like I feel like it's more accessible in terms of, just being able to just kind of read it and just kind of go at your leisure. I haven't gotten very far, not because I didn't enjoy the story, but just because there's just like so many other, mangas that I've just been trying to follow and keep up with. And so, like with the mangas, I would like to kind of continue to pursue that versus, kind of going into some of the movies. But the animes, I would definitely be down to watch. I haven't yet, specifically because, like, I just would have, enjoyed reading it versus actually watching this one. Just because the story is really good. It's a well-written character. And I just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a very ultra-violent story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right. But
brutal.
In the vein of like a Greek tragedy, with Guts, the main character, he's kind of damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, right?
Right.
So he's almost destined to live this life, right, and almost destined to not find happiness, right, or love, or he's just living that existence.
Yes.
Right. And, and it's very much a relationship, really a triangle, right, between him, Griffin, and Akaska.
Yeah.
And it's just the themes are really, really interesting, and the characters, again, just the designs are really amazing. So if anyone asks me, what should I pick up, right? If it's a first time person, wants to get into this, and Berserk is always my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah. You can put a lot of time into reading it and get a lot out of it.
Yeah. So I just think it's a really good example of what can come out of Japan, and their type of storytelling.
Very true. Very true.
Mad respects for sure, dude.
Yes.
I know.
Okay, so just a couple things more. I was going to touch upon Dragon Ball a little bit, but I think it's something that probably deserves more in depth. And I think it deserves that. So I'm going to kind of skip over Dragon Ball. Not that it's not worthy of kind of its status as a '90s iconic anime.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
damn, you're gonna have me power up right now.
I'm gonna hit.
I'm eager.
Just hit this. I'll just hit this a little bit.
Oh, all right. We got that Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I'll hit this a little bit. What's your experience with Cowboy Bebop?
So way back when, our mom used to work for THE, and so you would get mad DVDs. We would get a lot, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We would get like a lot of TV show stuff, a lot of movies. In the movies, we were able to get Cowboy Bebop, so we got to see the motion picture. We got to see it in its dub form, which was good. Thought it was good, but I never got to watch like the anime separate. It was just the movie.
Okay. How about you, Eric? Same thing?
Yeah. And no. So a portion of the series. Now this is actually a series that I hadn't like really wanted to like give a chance to, just because it just didn't seem, just based on covers that I've seen, it just didn't seem like it was something that I would have gotten into. And then later on, like I was like my twisted my arm enough, and then I was like, okay. And so like afterwards, like after seeing it, like it was definitely something that kind of changed my perspective on what I had originally thought about it, because I kind of kept it in the same vein as Trigun, I think it is, which was another one that at least for me were two kind of cut from the similar cloth. So for me, actually enjoying Cowboy Bebop now, you know what I mean? It's definitely a series that I would like go back to revisit and just to watch again,
Yeah, it's one of those series I think universally, everyone loves.
Yeah.
Right? It was very different at the time. The music was a big part of the series, right? And it's just something I think, again, if you grew up in the '90s, you watch this. All right, so I know we only have minutes left, but I'm gonna close out the '90s with.
Oh, I'm curious now. What in the any guesses in the chat? What Wong is going to be closing up with from the '90s? Because I know a lot of us here in the chat, like we all love our dear '90s. So
this is actually the end of the '90s. This is the end of the '90s. What do you think? Take a guess.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think?
It's a movie. So we'll try and narrow it down.
All right. Let's see. I don't know if what I'm about to name was a movie. It could easily be, because I don't think it was a long. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve. What do you think?
What was that movie that you always said that it looked like Lee running on she was running on the base?
Ponyo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, good guess. Good guess.
Ponyo.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. Yeah, I think that was in the 2000s.
Oh, okay.
But yes, great movie. Great movie.
Yeah. So for me, I'm actually thinking of Fooly Cooly.
So okay, all right. Yeah, I don't.
but I don't. It's a short, but I think it was just a short series, not a movie.
Yes,
like that's what I think.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So yeah.
Good
So,
guesses,
I mean,
good
that's
guesses.
my guess right there. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to choose from, right? So
Yes, very true. So I mean, some people from like Chef had mentioned some Sailor Moon. We got Astro,
Yep.
Ghost in the Shell from Rudy.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, FLCL. Yep.
Perfect.
Jay Spokes is yep.
Slam Dunk.
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All
It's
right,
all close.
Good
all close.
Guys, let's see what the winner is. Let's see who it is.
So Princess Mononoke.
Oh,
This is
yes. Yes. I was gonna say if
So-
Wong is still in the house, man, he would have guessed that. Maybe.
This is his jam.
Yes, he is a fan.
Yeah, so this movie was released right before the turn of the century, so 1999 in the U.S. And
Ooh.
watching this for the first time at that point for me was like game changer.
Yeah,
just the really adult themes, and this kind of plays into that kind of timing we talked about with that kind of early mid 90s with all the angst, right, and the grunge.
Yeah.
And as we kind of turned the page on the decade and the century, the environment was a big story, right? Just like it is these days, right? But at the time, not everybody was necessarily talking about the environment and man's relationship with nature, right? And this movie really explored that relationship.
For sure.
And
that's true.
So Mononoke is Japanese for supernatural, right? So the title of the film kind of describes the themes that that the studio was trying to describe, right? Trying to show.
Yeah.
And so there's a big hit in the US.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's legend. Sure. It's legendary. It's legendary. And like going back to commenting like how you said like not in the 90s, like we weren't really talking about the environment. The only person that I can remember talking about the environment was Michael Jackson with the Earth song, like
or Smokey the Bear.
He wasn't really putting in his work, dude. Like, he just on a couple of commercials, couple of t-shirts, but Michael Jackson sang a song about the Earth. So, but yeah, I mean, this was just it's still a pinnacle film. I mean, like this is like beautifully well done. It's just incredible.
I loved it. I loved it. Hands down. Got to be one of the faves for sure.
Yeah, so this kind of took me out of the decade and then into kind of the more modern times. But yeah, for me this was it. What about you guys? Is there a seminal movie or series in the 90s that you personally consider your go-to?
Oh man. Let's see. For me now, I don't know exactly if this was particularly like done in the 90s. I don't think it was, but for me, it was a film that I had remember watching many times over in the 90s, and still have a hard time actually finding that sucker. But like any of the Fatal Fury movies that they had done, just because SNK, I had grown up with, playing a lot of the Fatal Furies, King of Fighter games with my cousin Jay Spokes in the house and Steve, so that particular, series, the films that they had done holds a very special place to me, for me in the 90s. So what about you, Steve?
I got to share that with Eric, man. That was, I mean, being with the brothers that we are, I mean, we shared a lot of the same likings to like anime. We got to like one of the most dearest type of thing that we had in our childhood was when we did go every summer to LA. We would always go to our cousin's house. We would go down to the liquor store. We would have quarters on quarters on quarters, playing a King of Fighters, beating each other up. Just it was just so memorable for me. So those movies were great. I mean, dude,
Yeah, that and Street Fighter too. Street Fighter was
Yeah.
also another film that was really good. You know, because
Yeah,
you get to
first seen
see
that
Ryu
too.
in action.
Yeah, in the 90s, you know, with PlayStation and Sega, right? I mean, fighting games, right? I mean,
Mr. Gray, what's up, brother?
right? Virtua Fighter and Tekken, you know, Mortal Kombat.
That's
right.
right. Killer Instinct.
All the Capcom, right? I mean, that was a decade, right, for fighters.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. I remember just back in the day, we had an arcade, and it was just lines and lines of Street Fighter, Killer Instinct. You were lucky to find a SNK to be able to play King of Fighters. You know, like here's another one. You got your Guilty Gear, man. Like,
that's right, dude.
There you go.
That whole
Primal
arc.
Rage. You know.
Oh yeah, with the dinosaurs. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then yeah. Oh my god. So like taking it way back, dude. 90s. Gotta love it.
Yes. So so that's pretty much it.
What a tour, man.
Very casually says that's it. I mean,
that's
that was just a you know, that was that was like a 4-course meal. I feel that was just very savoring and, you know, very easy to digest. You know what I mean? Because you were hitting so many different pinnacles and years of anime as it's growing. You know, just from your personal perspective and then onward. You know what I mean? So, Wong, this truly was, you know, a pleasure, you know, getting the opportunity to have this perspective, you know, change on, you know, our Chibi Tales. And I mean, you know, like for anybody out there that is, you know, willing to, you know, wanting to be on, you know, so that we could get some of your stories too, you know, we would definitely love to have that, you know. So, you know, Wong, like I just gotta have that hand clap, you know what I mean?
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. You know what? There's so many things we didn't even hit upon.
I mean, I was looking at your PowerPoint. You were going to skip over One Piece, and I was like, Jay Spokes would probably be like, "Go back, please."
There's so much stuff we didn't even Ghost in the Shell. We didn't even get into a whole lot. I mean, there's so many things. It's too much.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, TM Nerdy. I mean, you had touched upon Pokemon, but I remember TM Nerdy also had mentioned Digimon. I mean, there's so many things. Yu-Gi-Oh. There's just
there's just too much.
Yes, so many, you know, great, terrific upbringing animes, you know, that you know, especially for young early watchers. Then, I mean, I feel like the 90s was definitely, it's the heavy hitter, you know, to truly make an impact here on the West. So
yeah, it was a great decade for sure.
Yes.
100%.
All right, and just to wrap things up, so I kind of teased this last week, but this is one of the modern anime that I'm watching, and so I was lucky enough to pick something up from Art Term a few years ago at a con. So I'm going to show you my my current favorite anime, and a piece that he did that I picked up that I think you guys will appreciate.
Wow, man.
I'm going to show you.
Oh. Yes! Wow! Man. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh!
Nesco-chan. I'm just gonna get Eric. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna give.
Man,
I'm gonna
look at those eyes, the detail. Oh my gosh!
That's so beautiful. I'm gonna probably throw it out there, Eric, and let's give him with that.
Yeah, you know. Yes,
that
man.
Is sick.
Oh, you guys. Yes, Demon Slayer, perfect series.
Yo, really if you guys are not watching Demon Slayer, you guys are missing out. Yesterday, just say yesterday, I watched it, and man, Sunday's episode, last Sunday's episode, the last Sunday before that, you guys are missing out. Go, like I'm telling you right now, the district arc is it. It's just
you gotta pick up your reviews on that, right? You were doing a little bit early on.
Yeah, we did. We were doing some early on, so now, we got to continue on, which is definitely in the works. It's definitely on our queue, you know, for, you know, upcoming series, you know, and continuing series that we have touched upon. But like Steven said, and like, you know, the man Wong, his favorite anime going on right now. I mean, it's just Demon Slayer is the anime to be watching right now, you guys. So definitely give that a watch. But yes, you guys, I mean, with that being said, Wong, once again, always appreciate having you on for everything, especially for this, my man.
Thanks, guys.
We truly appreciate you guys. Yes, the chat was bumping, you guys. Thank you for being so engaging and interactive with us. It was great to hear all your guys' animes and questions that you were answering from Wong's history. So we definitely appreciate you guys as always. And you guys don't go nowhere, you guys, because we got our top pick starting real soon, actually. Yes, so please stay tuned. Go ahead and take a stretch if you need to, please do so, and then come back because we'll be up in here. Steve, what you got?
Take us out, baby.
I was gonna say, let's give them the rundown, man. We got 7 p.m. topics of the week. We got the Queens of Comics with the Saga closeout, right? We're going into Saga, right? So you gotta love the Queens of Comics, so shout out to them, shout out to the girls.
Yes.
Then you got Wednesday, you got my man Geek Driven with Book of Boba, episode 5. Definitely pick that up. Movies and shows, you guys know he is always on point. He is looking, he is watching, he is lurking. Those eyes are moving. Then you got we got Black Crown Comics on Mondo Mail.
Mondo, baby.
Then you guys got on Friday, man. You guys are in luck. You guys got my favorite with our partners that we're at CBSI, man. So
baby,
you got to be looking out for that. Your boy will also be on DJ Lynx's rap battles on Friday as well. So he's going to be battling DJ Lynx, and I got to tell you, man,
he's been writing you guys.
Yeah, man, I've been just hitting it, but this is going to be good, man. I'm hoping that there's a lot going on, man. Definitely catch up on your shows, support the community. I know I've been checked out, y'all. I've been working, I wasn't able to post some comics last week, and this week I was starting to shake. But guys, definitely, let's go ahead and end out with a bang. Get back in at 7 p.m., man. 7 p.m. Top picks of the week. With that being said, Eric,
hook it up.
Okay, all right, you guys. If you guys want to view it right, Anime for Life.
Live.
Peace out, you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great week, y'all.
Yep.
Yep.